The photograph that broke the internet was simple. A man on a plastic stool, laughing with his whole face, holding chopsticks over a paper bowl of something red and steaming. Behind him, a woman with box braids and an apron covered in grease stains, mid-laugh herself, one hand raised like she'd just made a joke. The caption was even simpler: found him in Yeonnam-dong at 11 p.m. eating street food like a normal person. Within an hour, the internet had done what the internet does best. Someone recognized the watch first, a limited edition Patek Philippe worth more than most people's cars. Then the face. Then the name. Nam Siwoo. Vice Chairman of Hanseong Industries. Heir to $28 billion. The man who hadn't been photographed smiling in 3 years. And within 2 hours, they'd found her too. Chinenye Okafor. 27. Nigerian. Running an unlicensed food cart in Yeonnam-dong under the name Afrobeat Kitchen. No work visa. No permits. No business license. Just jollof rice, plantains, and a dream that was about to become a nightmare. Siwoo was in his penthouse when his phone started its death spiral of notifications. Calls from his assistant, his mother, his publicist, the head of corporate communications, and at least 40 people whose names he didn't recognize. He ignored them all until he saw the photograph. His own face staring back at him from a screen, completely unguarded, genuinely happy. He looked like a stranger. He looked like someone who remembered how to be alive. His hands were shaking when he scrolled to the comments. The first dozen were harmless enough, surprised that the notoriously private vice chairman was eating street food, charmed by the candid moment. Then he scrolled further. Gold digger. Visa hunter. Black women always going after rich Asian men. Why couldn't he find a nice Korean girl? Send her back to Africa. This is what happens when you let foreigners in. He found Neya's name in the comments, her cart's location, even a Google Maps pin showing exactly where she operated. Someone had posted her phone number. Someone else had found her brother's university ID. The internet had turned her entire life inside out in less time than it took to cook rice. Siwoo called Director Chai, his head of security. I need you to get someone to Yeonnam-dong. Now. There's a food cart, Afrobeat Kitchen. I need to know if she's safe. Sir, it's past midnight. The cart would be closed. I need to know if she's home safe. I need to know if anyone's found her address yet. There was a pause. Sir, should I be concerned about something? Just do it. Please. Across Seoul, in a tiny apartment in Mapogu that Neya shared with her younger brother, her phone was having its own meltdown. Toby burst into her room without knocking, his eyes wide. Sis, you need to see this. Neya was lying on her bed, still in her work clothes, bone-tired from a 12-hour shift at the cart. If it's another recipe video, I'm too tired. It's you. You're everywhere. She sat up. Toby handed her his phone. The photograph filled the screen, already at 1.8 million likes and climbing. Her stomach dropped. No, she whispered. No, no, no. Do you know who that is? That's Nam Siwoo. The Nam Siwoo. The chaebol heir. I know who he is now, Neya said, her voice hollow. She was scrolling through the comments, watching her life get dissected by strangers. They had her full name. Her cart's location. Someone had already posted a photo of her from 3 years ago with her ex-boyfriend, the Korean man who'd brought her to Seoul and then left her here when their relationship ended. Another betrayal waiting to be weaponized. They're calling you a gold digger, Toby said quietly. They're saying you're illegal. Neya, some of these comments, they're threatening. I can read, Toby. Her hands were steady but her voice wasn't. We close the cart tomorrow? Are you crazy? We can't afford to close. We can't afford for you to get hurt either. If people show up. Then people show up. We've dealt with racism before. We'll deal with it again. But this felt different. This felt like standing in the middle of a highway waiting for impact. Neya's phone buzzed with a new message from an unknown number. Then another. Then 10 more. She turned it off. Get some sleep, she told Toby. Tomorrow's going to be long. She didn't sleep. She lay in bed refreshing the post on Toby's phone, watching the numbers climb, watching the comments get worse. Someone started a thread theorizing about how long she'd been targeting rich Korean men. Someone else posted a petition to have her deported. By 3 a.m., a news article appeared, Hanseong Heir's Mystery Woman, what we know about the street vendor who captured Nam Siwoo's heart. Her phone buzzed even though it was off. She'd gotten a message on Instagram, the one social media account she hadn't deleted. It was from an account she didn't recognize, but the message made her breath catch. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please let me explain. Please be safe. She knew it was him. Morning came too fast and too bright. Siwoo arrived at his mother's residence in Songbukdong at 8, summoned by a text that said simply, now. He found Han Yuna in the breakfast room, the viral photograph printed out on paper in front of her, reading glasses perched on her nose. Mother, he started. She held up one hand. Sit. He sat. Han Yuna studied the photograph for a long moment. You're smiling. I know. Really smiling. Like you used to before, she stopped herself. They both knew what came before. Kwan Myri. The engagement. The betrayal with his half-brother. The 3 years of grey numbness that followed. I didn't plan this, Siwoo said. Love is rarely planned. His mother set down the photograph. Tell me about her. Her name is Chinenye. She goes by Neya. She's from Lagos, studied culinary arts in London, came here with her ex-boyfriend and stayed when it ended. She runs a fusion food cart. Nigerian food with Korean influences. It's brilliant. She's brilliant. She's also undocumented, according to the internet. Her visa situation is complicated. Everything about this is complicated. Han Yuna removed her glasses. Do you love her? The question hung in the air. Siwoo thought about the past 16 days. About stumbling across Neya's cart during one of his aimless midnight walks, when he'd been so numb he couldn't taste food anymore, couldn't feel anything except a vague wish to disappear. About her seeing something broken in him and simply saying, you look like you need feeding. About the jollof-tteokbokki she'd made him, rice cake swimming in spiced tomato sauce with crispy plantains on top, and how the first bite had made him cry because he could taste again. About coming back every night. About her stories of Lagos markets and her grandmother's recipes and her dreams of opening a real restaurant someday. About her laugh that sounded like bells and thunder at the same time. About the way she never asked him who he was or what he did, just treated him like a person who needed kindness. Yes, he said. I think I do. Then bring her to dinner. This weekend. I want to meet the woman who brought my son back to life. Siwoo stared at his mother. You're not angry? Angry? Siwoo, you've been a ghost for 3 years. You go through the motions, you attend the meetings, you sign the papers, but you're not here. You haven't been here since Myri. She reached across the table and took his hand. Do you think I care more about propriety than your happiness? Do you think I care if she's Korean or Nigerian or Martian? You're smiling again. That's all I've wanted. The board won't see it that way. The board doesn't get a vote in your personal life. But the internet does, apparently, and they're vicious. Protect her, Siwoo. However you can. That night, Siwoo went to Yeonam-dong. He told Director Chai to keep the security team back, to let him approach alone. The food cart was closed, the shutters pulled down, but he could see fresh graffiti on the side, "Go home" in Korean. His chest tightened. He waited for an hour. Then 2. She never came. Finally, his phone buzzed. A message from the Instagram account he'd sent his apology to. Not here. Cheonggyecheon stream. Tomorrow 2 p.m. Come alone or don't come. He smiled despite everything. She was setting boundaries. She wasn't going to make this easy. Good. Siwoo went home and opened Instagram. His account was private, barely used, definitely not for public statements. He made it public. Then he started typing. The corporate PR team had sent him a carefully worded statement, bland and protective, saying nothing real. He deleted it and wrote his own. Her name is Chinenye Okafor. She didn't know who I was when we met. She didn't care about my name or my money. She saw someone who was broken and sad, and she fed him. Not because she wanted something. Because that's who she is. She makes food that tastes like hope. She laughs like she means it. She treats everyone like they matter. If you have a problem with that, you have a problem with basic human kindness. I haven't been happy in 3 years. She reminds me what happy feels like. If that makes her a gold digger, then your definition of gold is worthless. He posted it at 5:47 a.m. By 6 a.m., it had 500,000 likes. By 7 a.m., it was on every news site in Korea. By 8 a.m., the Hanseong Industries stock had dropped 2 points and the board was calling an emergency meeting. Siwoo turned off his phone and went to find her. 16 days earlier, none of this existed. 16 days earlier, Siwoo was taking one of his midnight walks, the kind that started nowhere and ended nowhere, just movement to exhaust his body enough to sleep. He'd been doing it for months. Walking until his feet hurt, until his security team looked worried, until the sun started coming up and he had to go pretend to be functional for another day of board meetings and strategic planning and sitting in his father's old office feeling like a fraud. That night, he'd wandered into Yeonam-dong's smaller streets, away from the trendy cafes and boutiques. The area was quieter, more residential, the kind of neighborhood where people actually lived instead of just visited. He turned a corner and smelled something that made him stop. Spices. Heat. Something cooking that didn't smell Korean. He followed his nose to a small food cart tucked into an alley. The cart was painted in bright colors, yellow and green and red, with Afrobeat Kitchen written in both English and clumsy Korean characters. Afrobeats was playing from a small speaker, something with a fast beat and a woman singing in a language he didn't recognize. Behind the cart, a woman was dancing while she cooked, hips moving, one hand stirring a pot while the other held a phone to her ear. Toby, I told you, the essay is due Friday, not Thursday. You have time. Yes, I'm sure. Because I can read your syllabus from here. No, you cannot skip it. Because that's not how university works. She laughed, rich and warm. Go study. I'll bring food home later. Love you. She hung up and seemed to notice him for the first time. We're closed, she called out in Korean, her accent thick but clear. Siwoo should have left. He had no reason to be here, no appetite anyway, nothing but the emptiness he'd been carrying for 3 years. But something about her joy, her unself-conscious dancing, the way the music mixed with cooking smells, made him feel something adjacent to curiosity. Please, he said. It came out raw. She looked at him properly then, and he watched her expression shift. Whatever she saw in his face made her pause her cleanup. She studied him for a long moment. You look like you need feeding, she said finally. I can pay. I didn't ask if you could pay. I asked if you needed feeding. Different question. She turned back to her cart and started cooking. Siwoo watched her move, efficient and confident, adding things to a pan without measuring. Rice cakes. Tomatoes. Peppers. Spices he didn't recognize. She hummed while she worked, occasionally tasting and adjusting. After 10 minutes, she scooped everything into a paper bowl, topped it with fried plantains, and handed it to him with chopsticks. Jollof-tteokbokki, she announced. My grandmother's jollof recipe meets Korean street food. Sit. She pointed to a plastic stool near the cart. Siwoo sat, feeling ridiculous in his expensive suit on a cheap stool in an alley, but he sat. He took a bite. The taste exploded across his tongue. Spicy, sweet, savory, complex, alive. He could taste every ingredient, every decision she'd made. The rice cakes were chewy against the soft tomatoes. The plantains added sweetness. The spice built slowly, warming instead of burning. And then he was crying. He couldn't stop himself. Tears just started falling, running down his face while he ate, bite after bite, tasting everything for the first time in 3 years. He'd forgotten food could taste like this. He'd forgotten anything could make him feel like this. Neya didn't say anything. She just grabbed another stool, sat down across from him, and let him cry while he ate. When he finished, she handed him a napkin. "Bad day?" she asked. "Bad 3 years. I know something about those." They sat in silence while Afrobeats played from her speaker. Siwoo wiped his face, embarrassed. "I'm sorry. I don't usually." "You don't need to apologize for crying. You needed to cry, so you cried. Emotions aren't a crime." She smiled at him. "Though I'll admit, that's the most dramatic response I've ever gotten to my cooking." He laughed. It shocked him, the sound coming out of his mouth. "It's the best thing I've tasted in years." "Then you've been eating at the wrong places." "I've been eating at all the right places. Michelin stars. Private chefs. 5-star restaurants. None of them tasted like anything." "That's because they're cooking for approval, not for feeding. Different goal." She stood up, started closing her cart properly. "I'm Neya, by the way. Short for Chinenye, but nobody here can pronounce it. He stopped. For once, he wanted to just be a person. "Siwoo. Nice to meet you, Siwoo. You should go home and sleep. You look exhausted. Can I come back?" She looked surprised. "It's a food cart. Of course you can come back." So he did. The next night, he came back. And the night after that. At first, Neya seemed bemused by his consistency. "Don't you have other places to eat?" But she always made him something, always something different. Jollof rice with kimchi. Suya spiced bulgogi. Plantain hotteok. Egusi soup with rice cakes. On the 4th night, they started actually talking. She told him about growing up in Lagos, about her grandmother who taught her to cook, about getting a scholarship to culinary school in London. About meeting a Korean exchange student there and falling in love, about following him to Seoul thinking they'd build a life together. About him leaving her 6 months later when he realized his family would never accept a Nigerian daughter-in-law. "My visa expired while we were fighting about it," she said. "I should have left. But I'd already given up so much to be here. So I stayed. Started the cart. Figured I'd cook my way into belonging. Does it work?" "Some days." She smiled, but it was sad. "Some days people try my food and tell me it's amazing. Some days they tell me to go back to Africa. You take the good with the bad." On the 7th night, Siwoo told her his story. About his father dying suddenly, about being thrust into vice chairman position too young. About Kwan Myri, the woman he'd loved, the engagement announcement. About finding her in bed with his half-brother 3 weeks before the wedding. About learning it had been going on for months, that she'd chosen Siwoo for the position but wanted his brother for the passion. "I broke," he said simply. "Something in me just stopped working. I can't feel things the way I used to. Food tastes like nothing. Music sounds like noise. I go through every day like I'm underwater. But you can taste my food. Your food is the first thing I've tasted in 3 years." Neya looked at him for a long time. "That's not about my cooking, Siwoo. That's about you deciding to taste again. I just gave you permission." On the 10th night, her brother Toby showed up. He was 19, studying engineering at Yonsei, and immediately suspicious of Siwoo. Who's this? He asked in English, looking Siwoo up and down. A regular, Neya said calmly. A regular who dresses like he owns a bank. Toby. I'm just saying. We don't usually get customers in Rolex watches. Siwoo looked at his watch, self-conscious. Toby wasn't wrong. I can go. You can stay, Neya said firmly. Toby, don't be rude. Make yourself useful and help me close up. Toby helped but kept glancing at Siwoo suspiciously. After Neya served Siwoo his food, Toby pulled her aside. Siwoo couldn't hear the conversation, but he could see the body language. Toby gesturing at him. Neya shaking her head. Toby's face worried. Neya's face determined. When Toby left, Neya came back to sit with Siwoo. Sorry about that. Protective younger brother. He's right to be protective. You're here alone every night. I'm not alone. I have pepper spray, Director Chai watching from across the street, and the knowledge that I can throat punch someone if needed. Siwoo nearly choked on his tteokbokki. You knew about the security detail? Please. I'm not blind. 3 guys in black suits standing in the shadows? They've been there since night 2. She grinned. I figured you were either a celebrity, a criminal, or paranoid. Then I saw your watch and your shoes and the way you sit, and I figured it out. Rich boy slumming it in the streets, looking for authentic experiences. It's not like that. Isn't it? No. He set down his chopsticks. I'm not here for an authentic experience. I'm here because your food makes me feel human again. I'm here because you treat me like I matter, not because of my name or my money. I'm here because this hour, every night, is the only hour I'm not numb. Neya was quiet. What's your full name, Siwoo? He could have lied. Should have lied. Nam Siwoo. Her eyes widened slightly. The Nam Siwoo? Hanseong Industries? Yes. So the security detail makes sense. Are you going to treat me differently now? She thought about it. Are you still going to show up here and cry into my jollof-tteokbokki? Probably. Then no. I'm not going to treat you differently. She stood up. But you should know, I don't date customers. And I definitely don't date rich men who are going to wake up one day and realize I'm not worth the trouble. What if you are worth the trouble? Ask me again when the trouble actually shows up. On the 14th night, they were laughing about something stupid, Siwoo couldn't even remember what, when someone took the photograph. They didn't notice. They were too busy being happy. And that happiness, captured in pixels and shared across the internet, was about to destroy everything. Now, 17 days after their first meeting, Siwoo waited at Congyecheon Stream at 2 p.m. He arrived early, wearing a hoodie and mask, trying to be invisible. Director Chai had wanted to come, but Siwoo told him to stay back. Neya showed up exactly at 2 p.m. No mask. No disguise. If anything, she looked more herself than ever, her hair up in a high puff, wearing a yellow shirt that said "Jollof is life" in English. They walked in silence for a few minutes, following the stream path. I've gotten 47 death threats since yesterday, Neya said finally. Her voice was steady but her hands were shaking. My brother had to leave campus because people recognized him from the photos. My landlord called this morning. Said the other tenants are uncomfortable with the attention. He wants us out by the end of the month. I've got lawyers. I don't want your lawyers fixing my problems. Neya. I want to know if this is real. She stopped walking, turned to face him. Because if this is just curiosity, or rebellion, or some rich man's experiment in feeling alive, I need to know now. Before I lose everything. Siwoo pulled down his mask. You brought me back to life. That's not love, Siwoo. That's gratitude. I need to know the difference. I come to your cart because your jollof-tteokbokki tastes like hope, he said. I come because when you laugh at my terrible jokes, I remember what joy feels like. I come because you tell me the truth even when it's uncomfortable. I come because you dance while you cook. I come because you treat me like I'm just Siwoo, not Vice Chairman Nam or my father's son or a mistake waiting to happen. I come because of you. Tears were running down Neya's face. Everyone says I'm not good enough. That I'm not Korean enough, not educated enough, not from the right family. They're saying I'm using you for a visa, for money, for status. They're saying I'm exactly what my ex's family said I was, a girl who doesn't know her place. Are you using me? If I was, I'd have picked someone less complicated. They almost laughed, but it came out broken. Siwoo reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. I'm terrified, Neya said quietly. I'm scared that this is real and I'm scared that I'm falling for you. I'm scared that you'll wake up one day and realize I'm more trouble than I'm worth. I'm scared that your family will hate me, that your company will force you to choose, that I'll be the reason your life falls apart. My life was already apart. You're the first thing that's felt like putting it back together. That's a lot of pressure, Siwoo. I know. I'm sorry. She wiped her face. If we do this, if we really do this, I have conditions. Okay. 1. I keep my cart. You don't fix my permit situation. You don't buy me a restaurant. You don't make me your project. I handle my own business, my own way. That's dangerous now. People know where you. My terms are nothing. He wanted to argue. Wanted to tell her that his money could solve these problems, that he could protect her. But he could see in her face that protection wasn't what she needed. She needed respect. Okay, he said. 2. You don't hide me. Not from your family, not from your board, not from anyone. I won't be a secret. I won't be the dirty little thing you keep in the shadows until you're ready to be serious. I already posted. One Instagram post isn't enough. This gets harder before it gets easier. There will be more photos. More articles. More people saying terrible things. I need to know you're not going to crack when it gets bad. I'm not going anywhere. You say that now. I mean it now. She studied his face. 3. You have to actually love me. Not the idea of me. Not the version of me that healed you. Not the fantasy of the street vendor who saved the sad billionaire. You have to love me, Chinenye Okafor, with my expired visa and my loud laugh and my brother who doesn't trust you. You have to love me when I'm angry, when I'm scared, when I'm not magical or wise or strong. Can you do that? I don't know how to do this, Siwoo admitted. I haven't been good at loving anyone in years. I'm probably going to mess it up. But I want to try. Neither have I, Neya said. But we can learn together. He kissed her then. They're on the walking path by Congyecheon stream, with tourists and security cameras and probably someone with a phone ready to make them viral again. But for that moment, none of it mattered. What Siwoo didn't know, what Neya didn't know, was that a press conference was happening at that exact moment. Hanseong Industries' corporate communications team, trying to contain the damage, had prepared a statement. A calm, corporate, carefully worded nothing that would smooth everything over without saying anything real. And then Siwoo walked into the conference room unannounced. The room went silent. His publicist's face went white. The VP of Communications half stood from his chair. Vice Chairman Nam, we weren't expecting. Is this a press conference about my personal life? Siwoo asked. We're simply addressing the recent media attention. Then I'll address it myself. He walked to the podium. Cameras flashed. Reporters leaned forward. Yes, Siwoo said into the microphone. I'm in a relationship with Chinenye Okafor. She's from Nigeria. She runs a food cart in Yeonnam-dong. She's brilliant, kind, talented, and the best chef I've ever met. Her jollof-tteokbokki is better than anything you've eaten at your fancy restaurants. She makes me laugh. She makes me want to be better. And if you have a problem with any of that, that's your problem, not mine. Any other questions? Chaos erupted. Reporters shouted questions. His publicist looked like she was having a heart attack. A reporter near the front yelled, "Is it true she's undocumented? Her visa situation is complicated and none of your business." Next question. What does your mother think? She wants to meet her. We're having dinner this weekend. What about the board? Are they concerned about? The board doesn't get a vote in my personal life. Neither do you. Neither does the internet. I'm 32 years old and I'm in love with someone who makes me happy. That's the story. That's all the story there is. He walked out. The conference room exploded behind him. Within an hour, the video was everywhere. The stock dropped another point. The board called an emergency meeting. Korean news networks ran it on loop. International outlets picked it up. Korean billionaire defends Nigerian girlfriend in stunning press conference. The comments section was nuclear. Some people thought it was romantic. Others thought it was corporate suicide. A lot of people had opinions about interracial relationships, about class, about immigration, about whether love was enough to bridge that many differences. A Korean feminist blog posted an essay titled, "Is Nam Siwoo a white knight or is this actual love?" Nigerian Twitter exploded with support. "Our sister is out here changing lives." Someone started a GoFundMe to help Neya get a work visa through legitimate channels. Within 6 hours, it had raised $40,000. Someone else started a petition to have her deported. Within 6 hours, it had 30,000 signatures. The world was splitting in half over a photograph of two people eating street food. Neya watched the press conference video on Toby's phone. They were back at the apartment, curtains drawn, ignoring the reporters who'd found their building. Toby was pacing. "He just blew up his life for you," Toby said. "He just told his entire company, his whole world, that you matter more." "What are you going to do?" "I don't know." "Neya, you can't just sit here." "What else am I supposed to do? Go outside and give a press conference too?" "I'm not some chaebol heir. I'm just a girl with a food cart." "You're more than that." "Am I? Because right now I feel like a problem everyone's trying to solve." She put her head in her hands. "I can't go to the cart. The landlord wants us out. People know where we live. I can't even walk to the store without someone recognizing me. I wanted to cook my way into belonging here, and instead I've become everyone's favorite debate topic." Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Miss Okafor?" A woman's voice, professional but warm. "This is Park Jae-hai from Seoul Immigration Services. I'm calling because your case has been flagged for review." Neya's heart sank. "I understand. When do you need me to come in?" "Actually, I'm calling because several immigration lawyers have reached out offering pro bono representation for your work visa application. Additionally, there's been a fundraiser to cover any fees. I'm calling to ask if you'd like to pursue legal status." Neya couldn't breathe. "I don't understand." "There's a lot of public interest in your case. Some of it negative, yes, but a significant portion is supportive. We've been reviewing your situation, and while operating without permits is illegal, you have no other violations. No criminal record. Your brother is a registered university student. You've been paying taxes on your cart's income, correct?" "Yes." "Everyone. Then there's a path forward. It won't be easy or fast, but it's possible. If you're interested." Neya started crying. Yes. Yes, I'm interested." After she hung up, Toby was staring at her. "What just happened?" "I think I just got a chance to stay. Legally." But the relief didn't last long. That night, someone found the cart. By the time news reached them, it was already too late. The cart had been vandalized, destroyed. The bright paint was covered in graffiti. "Go home. Gold digger. Not welcome." The speaker was smashed. The cooking equipment was destroyed. Someone had started a small fire, though it had been put out before it spread. Neya saw the photos on Twitter before anyone could warn her. Her cart, her dream, her livelihood, reduced to wreckage and hate speech. She didn't cry. She just stared at the screen, watching her world burn in pixels. Siwoo showed up 30 minutes later. Director Chai must have told him. He came straight to the apartment, ignored the reporters, and knocked on the door. Toby let him in. "I'm sorry," Siwoo said immediately. "I'm so sorry. I'll replace everything. I'll find you a new location." "I'll get out," Neya said quietly. "What? Get out. I need you to leave." "Neya, please, let me help." "That's the problem." She was yelling now, standing up. "Every time you help, it makes things worse. You post on Instagram, the stock drops. You give a press conference, my cart gets destroyed. You throw lawyers and money at my problems, and everyone says I'm exactly what they thought I was. A gold digger. Someone who needs rescuing. Someone who can't handle her own life. I don't think that. Then why do you keep trying to fix everything? Why can't you just let me handle things my way?" "Because I love you and I want to protect you." "I don't need protection, Siwoo. I need respect. I need space to figure out my own solutions. I need people to stop treating me like I'm your project or your charity case or your redemption arc." Tears were streaming down her face now. "I'm a person. I had a life before you. I had a dream before you. And now every single thing about me is filtered through you, through us, through this thing that was supposed to be simple and good and is turning into a nightmare." Siwoo looked devastated. "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to let me breathe. I want space. I want time to figure out who I am in all of this, because right now I feel like I'm drowning." "Are you breaking up with me?" "I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is that every time you try to help, everything gets worse, and I can't keep being the reason your life falls apart." "You're not. Go home, Siwoo. Please. Just go home." He left. Toby watched him go, then turned to his sister. "You love him." "That's not the point." "That's exactly the point. You love him and you're scared." "Of course I'm scared. Look what loving him has cost already. Look what it's given you too. For the first time since we got here, you smiled like you meant it. You laughed without that sadness underneath. You talked about the future like it was something to look forward to, not just something to survive. And look where that got me. My cart's destroyed. We're being evicted. People want me deported. Some love story this turned out to be. It's not over yet." "How do you know?" "Because," Toby said gently, "you haven't actually given up. You're just scared. There's a difference. If you're invested in this story, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Drop a comment below and let me know whose side you're on in this situation." 6 weeks passed. 6 weeks of Neya filing visa paperwork, meeting with pro bono lawyers, gathering documentation to prove she'd been paying taxes and following laws except for the one about work permits. 6 weeks of depositions and interviews and bureaucratic nightmares. 6 weeks of Siwoo respecting her space while his world imploded around him. The board tried to force him to resign. He refused. They threatened to cut his trust fund access. He didn't care, he had enough saved. They brought in shareholders, tried to make a case that his personal life was affecting company value. He reminded them that the stock had already recovered and was actually up 3 points from before the photo went viral because the press attention had been good for brand recognition. His mother invited Neya to dinner anyway. Neya went, bringing Toby for moral support. Yuna was gracious, warm, genuinely interested in Neya's cooking and her dreams. She asked about Lagos, about Neya's family, about what she wanted for her future. "I want to cook," Neya said simply. "I want to make food that brings people together. Nigerian food, Korean food, fusion that bridges cultures. I want people to taste something and feel connected to the world, the way food connected me to this place even when everything else was falling apart. That's a beautiful dream, Hanyuna said. It might stay a dream. The cart's destroyed. I don't have permits yet. People know my face now, so starting over quietly isn't an option. So start over loudly, Yuna suggested. Make noise. Make food. Make people pay attention for the right reasons this time. It was good advice. But Neya wasn't sure she had the courage for it. She and Siwoo texted occasionally. Short messages. How are you? I'm okay. Thinking of you. Same. Nothing deep. Nothing that would pull them back into the chaos before they were ready. But every night, Neya dreamed about jollof-tteokbokki. About fusion and belonging. About a man on a plastic stool who cried when he tasted her food because it reminded him how to feel. On week 7, her visa came through. Work permit approved, pending business license. She could legally work. Legally stay. Legally build something. She called Siwoo. I got it. The visa? Yes. Neya, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. I'm opening a new cart. Legal permits, official business license, everything by the book. I found a location in Itaewon, near the UN Village area. More international crowd, more support for fusion food. That's perfect. I want you to come to the opening. If you want to. Silence on the line. Then, are you sure? No. But I'm doing it anyway. Opening day was chaos. News crews showed up, obviously. Curious onlookers, supporters, protesters with signs saying Korean food for Korean people. Neya ignored all of it. She cooked. The new cart was bigger, brighter, licensed and legal. The sign read AfroKDram Kitchen in both English and Korean. She'd expanded the menu: jollof-tteokbokki, suya tacos with kimchi slaw, plantain pancakes with doenjang maple syrup, egusi soup with rice cake dumplings. Siwoo showed up at noon, no mask, no disguise. He got in line like everyone else. When he reached the window, Neya smiled. What can I get you? The original. Jollof-tteokbokki. She made it fresh, the way she had that first night. When she handed it to him, their fingers touched. It still tastes like hope, he said after the first bite. Good. That's the recipe. They didn't kiss. Didn't make a scene. Just smiled at each other across the counter while cameras flashed and people watched and the internet prepared to have opinions. That night, after the cart closed and the crowds dispersed, they walked along the Han River. Just them, no security at a distance this time. Just two people who'd accidentally found each other and accidentally fallen in love and were trying to figure out what came next. I'm sorry I pushed you away, Neya said. I'm sorry I tried to fix everything. You were just trying to help. I was trying to control things I couldn't control because I was scared of losing you. They walked in silence for a while. I don't know what this looks like, Neya said finally. You're still a chaebol heir. I'm still a street vendor with a complicated history. People are still going to have opinions. Let them. Your company is fine. The board settled down once they realized the publicity was actually good for us. Apparently, humanizing the billionaire class is trending. What about your family? My mother wants to invest in your restaurant. Neya stopped walking. What? When you're ready to expand. She wants to be your first investor. Silent partner, no control, just support. She said, and I quote, that girl makes food that matters. I want to help her succeed. Neya started laughing. Your mother wants to invest in my food cart. She wants to invest in your dream. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Is that a no? That's a let me think about it. She took his hand. I want to build this myself first. Prove I can do it. But maybe later, when I'm ready to grow, having a silent partner wouldn't be the worst thing. Take all the time you need. They walked further. The city lights reflected on the river, making everything shimmer. I love you, Siwoo said. I should have said it weeks ago, but I was scared. I love you. Your stubbornness and your pride and your jollof-tteokbokki. I love how you dance while you cook. I love how you tell me the truth even when it hurts. I love that you make me feel like a person instead of a position. I love you. Neya was crying again. I love you too. Your sad eyes and your terrible jokes and the way you show up every day even when I push you away. I love that you're trying. I love that you're not perfect. I love you. They kissed on the riverbank while the city watched and didn't care. 3 months later, another photograph went viral. Siwoo and Neya at her cart, cooking together. He was wearing an apron that said sous chef. She was laughing at something he'd said, spatula raised. They looked happy. They looked real. The comments were still mixed. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. Some people wrote dissertations about interracial relationships and class dynamics and cultural appropriation and fusion cuisine. But Siwoo and Neya weren't reading the comments anymore. They were too busy building something new. Something that tasted like jollof-tteokbokki and hope and love and the messy beautiful reality of two people choosing each other every single day. Neya's cart thrived. The Itaewon location became a destination, a place where cultures mixed over food and everyone was welcome. She hired staff, expanded hours, started doing pop-ups at markets and festivals. The GoFundMe money went toward a scholarship fund for other immigrants trying to start food businesses in Seoul. Siwoo stayed by her side, not as a savior or a benefactor, but as a partner. He washed dishes. He took orders. He learned to make jollof rice, though Neya said his needed work. He testified at immigration hearings for other people in similar situations. He used his privilege, but he learned to listen first. Han Yuna did eventually invest, but only after Neya had proven the business model and asked for help. They became close, this unlikely pair, bonding over food and family and the complications of loving stubborn people. Toby graduated university and started working on a tech platform to connect international food vendors with customers, making it easier for immigrant cooks to build legitimate businesses. Neya was his first client. And every night, when the cart closed and the crowds went home, Siwoo and Neya would sit on plastic stools in the alley, eating whatever experiments she'd made that day, laughing about nothing, tasting the future they were building together. It wasn't easy. Nothing worth having ever is. There were still bad days, still racist comments, still immigration stress, still family complications. But they faced it together, one bowl of jollof-tteokbokki at a time. Because love, real love, isn't about grand gestures or viral moments. It's about showing up. It's about respecting boundaries. It's about building something together that tastes like hope and smells like home and feels like belonging. It's about a sad man who forgot how to feel and a woman who reminded him that feeling, even the hard feelings, was worth it. It's about fusion, not just in food but in life. About cultures blending to create something new and beautiful. About choosing each other, every day, even when the world has opinions. It's about sitting on plastic stools in an alley, eating street food, and knowing you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So what do you think? Could love like this survive in the real world, or is it just a beautiful fantasy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you loved this story of hope, healing, and jollof-tteokbokki, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that remind us why love, in all its messy glory, is always worth fighting for. See you in the next one.